You're tuned in to the 3 Pixels podcast. Hello and welcome back to the 3 Pixels podcast. It's group episode time. Yeah, it's been a little while since we've done one of these group recordings, and it is fantastic to have everyone back in the same room. Before we dive into the first episode here of Off the Record, and before Alan gets his chance to hit the topic for this episode, which you guys listening already know what it is, I'm going to go around introducing everyone. So, welcome back, Martin Gregory. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you very much, Ben.
Resident gaming geek.
Yeah, why not? Here I am. Honestly, it feels weird that, I haven't seen either of you for a long time. I haven't done...
Been bloody ages.
It has been a while, especially with you.
When was the last time?
Ages ago. Like a lifetime ago. Well, obviously I've seen Ben on and off, but obviously I keep missing you because obviously you're here and there and
He's
everywhere.
He's a busy guy.
Yeah, so it's always nice to see Alan.
Yeah,
as well as it's always nice to see
you
you, Ben.
Thank you very much. And
Did you bring any Banbury cakes?
Yeah, sure, why not? Right.
do you want to quickly explain what Banbury cakes are for
I was promised
listening?
Banbury cakes last time I saw you.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
And
Yeah, awkward.
I thought I'd slave away in the kitchen to make you some food.
Yeah, we had a
in
great
return for
dinner.
some Banbury cakes.
I'm not gonna lie. Banbury cakes. What are Banbury cakes? They're pretty much just like small little cakes.
Are they rip-off Welsh cakes?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I thought
pretty
so.
much. That is probably the best way. They are, and if
Are they like scones?
they're like scones with just fruit in,
Or scones.
or
depending on
scones,
where you're from.
where you're from. And yeah, like generally they are pretty much Welsh cakes. Just
Or
Banbury
Welsh cakes, just scones?
No, I
No,
wouldn't
Welsh
say.
cakes are Welsh cakes. Don't start a war
No,
here.
I don't know. I'm pleading ignorance.
I'll tell you what. We'll bring some Welsh cakes.
We'll get some Banbury cakes, we'll get some scones, we'll get some Welsh
Compare
cakes
and contrast,
compare.
yeah.
We'll do a blind test. I'll see if I can tell the difference between
Okay,
them.
great.
You
That's a
definitely
great podcast content. Just
Oh,
right
no,
there.
no, not for the podcast, just for me to eat
Just for
cake.
him, generally. Okay. Well, Alan, you've already made your presence here quite clear.
Sorry,
But
was I supposed to be quiet?
No, it's totally fine. Alan Taylor, how are you?
Uh-huh. I'm good. How are you doing?
Great. How's the movie world?
It's finally coming back alive after Endgame pretty much
Right.
fought off all the competition. Well, when the biggest Marvel movie comes out, no one else brings anything else out. So other movies are starting to come out again.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. We're going to go see Rocketman soon.
We're going to see
so stay tuned for
Rocketman,
that.
Detective Pikachu.
Anything that you're looking forward to after? Like, is there anything late in the year at all that you're looking at all? Put him on the spot here, look.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not prepared for that.
We'll save that thought because we might be coming to that later in another episode. Stay tuned for that. Or it might be this episode. Quite frankly, we don't know. You guys listening will know what the title is, so you're not talking about. So, as we don't know what we're talking about, the way that Off the Record works is we have a bowl full of suggestions and ideas, which you guys can add to the suggestions of what you want us to talk about in a future episode. Get in touch with us on Twitter. I'm not going to ask Martin what the Twitter is because every time I edit recording with Martin talking about Twitter, he says it wrong.
Every time. Yeah,
So,
I realise
Martin,
that's
Martin, what's our Twitter?
I have no idea anymore.
Okay, it's at 3 Pixels Pod. Check us out on Twitter there. Or you can send us a message through our website. Alan, what's our website?
The 3 Pixels podcast.com.
It was so close, mate. the3pixels.com.
It's like you think we've done this enough,
They're all different. It's so difficult. Or we've got Instagram.
Yes, what is that?
The 3 Pixels podcast.
Great. There we go. So
at the 3 Pixels podcast,
Perfect.
please.
maybe we'll have some content by the time this episode is out on that Instagram, which you don't have yet. But get in touch with one of those ways. You can suggest the ideas. So let's dive in. Alan?
Yeah.
So we've got some
Sorry,
wonderful...
how you said it was full of ideas. Like,
Look, they don't know. They don't know. Okay?
whoa,
They can't
Ben,
see...
you dropped like 6 on the floor.
It's fine. Look, they can't see how full it is. That's how podcast works. They can't see.
So we'll
I'm
just
creating
lie to them.
The magic.
Ah, yes, that overflowing wealth
Look.
of ideas.
That's what we are here.
Like, Martin, I know it just becomes natural. You don't even realize, but sometimes you just make things up, you know. So I know, like you do on your episodes, your gaming episodes,
Make
you
it
just
up.
make it up.
That's right. I can do that.
Alan.
Yeah.
Right, this is the topic of the episode. Here we go. It's nail biting. I know you guys at home can't wait to find out.
All right. So, dun, 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 drum roll, Martin.
Oh, we'll just add it in.
Add it. Cool.
We haven't got the budget for adding it in.
Movie sequels.
Yes.
Sequels. That's a G, not a Q.
Yeah, it
And
is.
what? And also
Seagulls.
Cool. Movie sequels.
There we go. Great. Thanks, Alan.
Sequels.
Read that. What does that say?
Movie sequels.
I wrote it in a rush.
All right.
Okay, so
Maybe I'm just a...
okay,
Right. Back to reality.
Put the box in the middle again.
Yep.
Movie sequels.
Away. Back
Back in the middle, right?
Right. Full
so
box.
the full title: movie sequels, good, bad, when's too many. So let's start with the good. Like, what series jump out to us as being kind of really good movie sequel?
I have one,
franchises.
but I think it would just end the conversation.
Lord of the Rings, right?
No, actually.
What?
Okay, so do we count the ones that are like based off a book that's all sequels? Because they're very
All
different.
the Marvel movies are based on books.
Oh yeah, vaguely on the comic books.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, but they're not following like a pattern of this is the first book, this is the end book, so these are all the movies.
Yeah, because you have also like the stuff like with the New 52 and stuff like that. So things do also get like retconned in comics and stuff. When I think of a sequel, I think of like a standalone film with additional content, not like when it's a book where it's
You're the games person.
yeah, absolutely.
DLC to this movie.
But with like books, they're sort of set up to have the next one already frame in mind. You look at stuff like
Not necessarily.
well, I think so, because like you said about the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, but that's a special case where he did have the whole thing planned out. But there are plenty of books that come out that don't have a plan for.
Well, James Bond.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say.
I knew you were going to say that, but then again, they all say,
me so well.
"Oh, but they always say, oh, it's all interlinked with one another," which I don't understand. Which I to this day, I don't understand how they can say that when there are so many different books. Well, they said like the adventures follow on from one another, and
It's
this
the
is
same character.
yeah, but like they're different people. I can see they're different people.
You mean the actors change?
Yes, and how can that follow on from one another? I don't understand.
You don't know how different actors can play one character.
I just think it's a bit odd.
Do you think they should have just stopped after Sean Connery?
I think so.
What?
Actually, no. I think they should have started and ended with Daniel Craig, personally, because the other ones are just laughable.
The whole of Daniel Craig's last few movies are nostalgia things to the first one, so he wouldn't exist without it.
But I think you kept that. But you have awful like ski chases and awful
Whoa.
one-liners.
Are you talking about Pierce Brosnan?
Yes.
That ski chase was amazing.
He's the best. Sorry, that's like I
think-
grew up with those movies.
I think you both need to just get out now, because clearly, they're just
So you're not a fan of James Bond?
I don't mind James Bond. The real goofy 80s, 90s things.
Yeah,
like-
Roger Moore James Bond.
Oh,
That
God.
was silly.
Fun fact, actually. I know you don't have like ITV here and stuff. They're actually running. I'm just saying. I know.
Yeah, ITV always has James Bond going.
Going right now. They have books. They're sort of set up to have like a continuation. I think because in books, like you want to get as much milk the cow, as they say. You look at like stuff like Harry Potter. And
Are
stuff
you
like
saying
that.
Marvel aren't milking the cow?
Oh, mate. They have milked that cow.
Let's be fair, it's the first time that Marvel have really made any money out of their franchise. Like when they're doing comic books, they were losing money out of
This is true. Yeah,
every corner.
but that's also reinvigorated their market with all these films as well.
Because they were on the verge of
it's
bankruptcy
introduced
when
an entire
Iron
new
Man was
audience.
pitched. Like when Iron Man came out, Marvel based on the edge of bankruptcy. That's why it was such a gamble at the time for them to spend all this money on this film on an actor which didn't actually have that great a track record really in his personal life and stuff. All this going on, so it's quite he's not like he'd done big movies that were up to the level that Marvel were dreaming of hopefully reaching with a new character, putting it in the hands of and not knowing how everyone would react.
So would you say that
it.
that Iron Man movie is the start of that franchise?
For sure,
So everything else that followed it was sequels to that movie.
I guess. Well, sequels in the universe that we've just the chapter that we've just had.
Mm-hmm.
For me, sequels reminds me a lot of things like the Shrek series, where it started off very well, and as you go down the road, it's more of a cash grab. Like Ice Age as well, same as that
God.
example. It just got worse and worse and worse.
And it wasn't very good
at
to
the
start
end.
with. Sorry.
Yeah,
Whoa,
and
Shrek was
Dragging.
great.
I'm on about Ice Age.
where there
here.
were
Oh, yeah,
sequels
I don't
just because they knew that they could make the money from it, rather than
'cause the
because
kids
they
loved
had
it.
rather than because they had books to refer to complete a story or a universe to continue developing and expanding. Like it was literally the only reason is because they knew they'd put the film out and people would watch it.
So I need to introduce you to crime thriller fiction. If you want books that they just keep pumping out for money because
Oh,
people
of
will
course.
buy them.
So the film I was going to lead to before when I said I could end the conversation right here, I think I always think of, when I think of a sequel, I always think of Terminator 2. Probably arguably the greatest sequel ever. It was better than the original, in my opinion. And I always think, it's a gold standard. Alan, you're shaking your head. Why are you shaking your head?
I'll let you finish.
I just think it was a gold standard. Compare the first and second film. I think the second film was more of a complete overall. I just fully enjoyed it more.
No, Terminator 2 was fine. It was a really good twist on the first movie. But Terminator 2 is a kid's movie. Whereas Terminator 1 is like a gritty sci-fi. Yeah.
So now not only
can we not change... It's like with Die Hard. Like the last Die Hard was like a 15.
Infantilized it.
Can I just say then, so we're not allowed to change actors, or we're not allowed to change the genres?
I'm all for changing actors.
But we can't change genres, because you said, it's a gritty, and now it's like one film.
The problem with, sorry to interrupt, but the problem with sequels often is that basically what worked really well on the first one is extremely diluted by the fact that sometimes actors change, sometimes directors change,
they need to expand the audience.
And yeah, sometimes
they need to hit that 15 mark.
It's because by that point, and especially in a successful franchise, like there are board members basically in the publishers that are sat there making the decisions, saying that you've got to do this, this, and this because we're expecting all this money back from this movie. This is the one that was going to bankroll all the other films that we're not sure about. So like, there's that added pressure for them to have it reach a big audience and to do well, and often that's then what holds back the film, because the first film, no one knew how well it was going to do, how things, and no one was putting their bets on it. Whereas a problem with sequels is by the time you get to like the later sequels is that that is like a big franchise for the studio, so they're expecting it.
So are you making the argument that sequels are bad?
They're
Disney
bad.
would go out of business. They're only making sequels and remakes.
Well, that's how spur this discussion, because basically, Disney in the last little while, all they're releasing really is sequels. They've got Frozen 2, they've got Toy Story 4, they've been remaking all the Disney films. Yeah. So they're not doing anything new and original.
I will say, actually, that did come to my head instantly about sequels. I will be honest, if you actually look at a lot of Disney sequels, I mean, like the old 80s sort of thing, like you look at like the Aladdin sequels and stuff, which went like straight to video sort of thing. God, they suck. I'm sorry if people like them, but they suck. And I'd actually said for a long time that Disney films should never really have done sequels, because a lot of them were just like adaptations of fairy tales, start, finish, start, middle, end sort of thing, and that's it. They should never have made like sequels. And you're right, they are making sequels now. So look at Toy Story. Like, they're making a Toy Story 4. In 2010, when the third one came out, they said, this is it, this is the end of it. And now they're making a fourth one. I'm like, come on now.
3 was a perfect ending.
I thought it was a great
best ending.
Because you could just say it's in one infinite loop then. They get used, kid gets older, they get played with by someone else.
And that really disappoints me about Pixar, because I thought that, Pixar would stand their ground and they would have some leverage over it, because, they're so well known and they make films that do well. They don't really have bad selling films. And they're not normally short of ideas either. So when they do a sequel, like they waited so long for Incredibles 2, there normally is a good reason behind it. But I feel like Toy Story is really marked hopefully not a change for Disney's maybe. I mean, I'm assuming Disney to be the bad guy, but it's not hard to assume that Disney's involvement possibly has gone Pixar's.
No, I agree. What are you saying, Alan?
So normally, in the argument of our sequels, what have they gone too far?
Yeah.
Well, normally I'd say like whatever, you don't have to watch them. Like if they exist in the world, it's not taking away from anything. Though I suppose, have a problem with sequels that undermine or make the movies that came before worse.
Yeah.
Like The Matrix, right?
Yeah, definitely.
The first Matrix, obviously, everyone agrees is amazing. The second two, I probably still enjoy more than most people do, but they kind of take away from a lot of the characters and decisions that were made in the first one. So that might be a problem. But that's just writing. That's not like an industry problem.
I also say, I know this isn't like actual sequels, because Ridley Scott says, oh no, they're not sequels or prequels or anything, but like the Alien franchise is another one.
And then Prometheus.
And like they say, I hate when it's like they clash in the same universe as well at times like that.
That's a fantastic example of a sequel ruining the material of what came before, because that just takes away the whole mystery of
where did they come from? Why are they doing this? And that's the one thing I loved about Alien. It was purely because you had no idea where this thing was, where it came from, or what its goal or agenda was. It was pretty much a spooky house in the middle of space.
as soon as you explain the villain is no longer scary.
Yep, you see the smoke and mirrors, and that's it.
And I think some of my most memorable, like, engrossing movie experiences in the last while have been new films I haven't seen before, because there's no expectation to me. People aren't expecting it to go in a certain way, and part of that's why, you know, I don't want to know much about film. I know you're much the same, Alan. Going into, you want to kind of like not see the reviews, and it's because you want to go in and you want to experience it for the first time. There's something magical about that. But when you're kind of already in a world that's had 4 films, and you kind of know that it's gonna kind of something's gonna happen in this way. You know, there's gonna be these characters. This is probably gonna go like this, but it's gonna be all right because they're probably gonna want to make a 5th anyway.
And on that subject, sorry, you just reminded me, like, even like things like the Star Wars, like prequels, like you look at like Rogue One and Solo, it feels like at times there's no stakes because you think, well, the rebellion's going to win anyway.
Yeah, you know what's going to happen.
And you just think, well, why didn't this have come before? Obviously, you know, they can't forward plan that. But I just think stuff like that, it just ruins it. It oversaturates it.
And I know, going back to Alan's point about choice, I know I know that I could choose not to go to see the next film, and I could not go and see the next Toy Story movie and have this perfect ending in my head. But I also know, and that's partly why I think I'm angry, is that I know myself, and I know Toy Story 4 is going to come out, and I know I'm going to go and bloody see it.
Absolutely.
I know that I'm not going to be able to stop myself because I'm such a fan of the franchise. So whatever they now do in Toy Story 4 is going to be my lasting memory of that film.
Yeah, but does that make the movies that came before it worse?
It can do. It depends on
That's
how
what
bad
I'm
the
saying.
film
Like,
is.
it depends on the movies.
I think it can tarnish the memory.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely. So here's the opposite side to that, and then argument for sequels.
Sure.
So you guys said you had a big emotional payoff from Endgame, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you have had that without what is it, like 15 years of build-up? Like, can the build-up over like a decade or however long? Like,
It was
you know,
11
like,
years, yeah.
yeah, or like, you know, Harry Potter took a decade.
Yeah, it did.
Like, there's that argument to be made. You can build relationships. You can see these actors grow in a way that you can't in a single 90-minute film. It's more like a TV show of.
There are exceptions, right? There are exceptions to the rule. I mean, but there are like ones that work. But I'm saying like but they're often, obviously we're saying that often can be used for bad. Like, they're often used as a cash grab. It's just in that pure only reason, but they also can be, you know, as part of, you know, a tool for engulfing a whole set of books or a whole universe of characters and stories.
Before trilogy. So that's these romance movies where I think it's like 10 years between them, and like it's like their relationship 10 years on and they meet up again.
Right.
And we come back to that. Those are amazing movies.
Yeah.
And there's value in the time difference between the two movies there, and like you've gone away and then they've met up again and we've met them again. Yeah. So I don't know. I think there's absolutely value in having sequels.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I'm
as far as emotional investments concerned.
But it has to be justified. It can't just be like, we just, you know, blatant cash grabs. It has to have like some sort of, you have to add something on top. You can't just be like the same tropes, the same problems. You have to show something different.
We might not like Ice Age.
Right.
But I bet there are plenty of kids that do.
Yeah, but that's just it, kids. And I oh God, I'm gonna say
yeah,
something.
but not everything's for us.
I know, but I just think
there are plenty of movies there that I don't like that other people enjoy.
A lot of family movies are geared towards the whole family, not just towards the kids. Like, you know, you've got to achieve the kind of cutesy, like fun, you know, bit for the kids, but
do they have to? They're still making money.
It's a hard one because I am personally annoyed at Ice Age because I used to really enjoy those movies, and I think even some of the early first two, for me, I was still getting some enjoyment out of them. Agree or disagree, but like they went like into the sea basically. They took the whole ship.
I was going to say the ice
they took the whole ship and just like crashed it into the land. As far as
they've ran that aground.
Yeah,
and the worst thing is it's still going in this ground right now. Some say it's at the Earth's core right now.
All the bad movies are worth it for the good ones, the gems that we get.
For the memes.
Because hey, those first those first two Ice Ages still exist. Yes. No one's taken them away.
And so does the third and the fourth.
Yeah, I mean,
You outgrew them.
Yeah,
You outgrew the series.
I was never grown into the series, to be honest with you.
No, I wasn't. I don't
okay, we're really ragging on Ice Age. Sorry.
Talking about the good sides of sequels, I'm a complete hypocrite in this because my favorite movie of all time is a trilogy. The Back to the Future trilogy is my favorite set of movies of all time. So there are great reasons when trilogies have been used. There's great times and experiences to be had out of trilogies.
But that also comes back to your thing about books where that was planned. Well, I know the trilogy wasn't planned, but the second two were written at the same time.
Yes.
So
and the second and third were shot at the same time.
Yes, they were.
So that was like a planned experience.
Yeah.
But then again, the exact same situation with Pirates of the Caribbean, and that was not great.
That also plunged into the sea.
What was the fourth one called? And then they made a fifth one, didn't they?
Yeah, it's On Stranger Tides.
I think so, yeah.
And was the fourth one. And then Balthazar's Revenge or something like that.
That was it. Balthazar's Revenge.
That's definitely not what it's called, but I don't remember.
But that's what it's called now.
And
they still don't know really when to stop, do they? Because they're making it again. And there's
Are they making another one?
Without Johnny Depp.
Oh, that's right.
One in
yes.
the Orphan somewhere. Yeah, that was a strange one in my opinion because the first three concluded.
Yeah.
Or no, sorry, they didn't because he was on a boat, weren't he? On a rowing boat, and he looked up, and it was like he had the Fountain of Youth. If you remember rightly, it was right at the end.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a great way to end it off. He's still conquering his adventures, and then to make the fourth, and I called it as soon as I saw the trailer. I went, "This film is going to bomb," and guess what? It bombed hard.
Yeah, well, I mean, based on the history, you had 2 not good movies out of 3.
Yeah.
Out of 5, yeah.
But I mean, like at that point.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Is it at the expense of original movies? Is that the issue?
Well, no, actually, I mean, there's a great argument to say that they benefit original movies because they're the ones that are bankrolling the unsure, new starters. It's the bigger Fox movies that help Fox Searchlights, which is a subsidiary of Search, make movies like 3 Billboards, which did incredibly well. That was the Fox Searchlights production. So that might not have happened if Fox didn't have other productions where they knew they were going to make the money back from. Because, it doesn't matter how much money these guys make. They're not going to, take too much of a gamble unless they're 100% certain that they're going to be giving all their investors, their Christmas bonuses, So,
And let's not forget about Netflix. They are making a lot of original content movies.
Yeah.
Original's a bit of a stretch though, isn't it?
Well, it's not like necessarily all adaptations or sequels.
Right.
They are making a lot. They're trying to make as many genreless movies as they can. They're not trying to...
I feel like that's a whole other conversation because
Well, it's still sequels. It's still like if you want to go to find original content, it's right here in your living room. We've just been talking about the theatre experience,
right?
But there is original content being made.
Sure.
Here, here.
We've all been there searching around Netflix trying to find. There's like millions of things to watch, but we can't find it.
Every single time I go up on Netflix.
Exactly.
I spend more time looking for something than actually watching anything.
When they're cramming everything in your face, and it's hard for you to actually know what's any good. Because I mean, the rating system on there is all up the jacks.
I think.
I beg your pardon.
The rating system is just all.
Is there a rating system on there?
Yeah, there is.
I thought it was just like thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yeah, well, there was to be a rating, but like it kind of turned into then a recommendation. So it's like, we think 8% sure we think you'll like this.
Yeah.
So it's like,
but it's based on like
what does that
you
mean?
watch and what other people watch similar things to.
Yeah, which on my Netflix is completely inaccurate because everyone else watches on my Netflix more than I do. So when I get on, it's like, oh, you might like this like kids movie.
I had the same problem. My girlfriend watches all sorts, like stuff from like RuPaul's Drag Race to like real like obscure indie films. So when I got on there, I have all this odds and sods, and I'm like, I would never watch this. Why is this being recommended to me?
So to pull this all together, I think we're all in agreement here that, obviously sequels have their place and there are great examples where sequels have worked. And also sequels do help bring along more content and obviously having more of a variety. There are people out there that might love these sequels and go and see every, Fast and Furious movie or every Shrek movie and love watching those. So, movies are very, very personal things. Like people get divided over them, what one person loves, what another person hates. So I think that just sometimes it can just be a little bit wearing.
Yeah, but it is mainly like the kids' movies that have this like Ice Age and Terminator 2.
Yeah, all those great kids' movies.
Yeah.
It's to sell action figures.
Yeah,
and have catchphrases.
Well, that's Disney's. That's Disney's.
I
Model.
think we need a talk after what a kids' film is after this. Alan.
Die Hard apparently is. So.
Edward Furlong.
That's a Christmas movie. Oh, have you very quickly?
What?
Have you heard the interview with Bruce Willis him saying?
Yeah, and he's wrong. It is a Christmas movie. There's not even a conversation that needs to happen anymore.
All right. Well, on that note,
what makes a Christmas movie?
Yeah, it's set at Christmas.
Okay.
It ends on a Christmas song.
I know. That's what I always think is a Christmas film, but hey.
Gremlins is a great Christmas movie.
I feel like we've gone from sequels to Christmas, and I'm very sorry, Ben, for doing this to you.
it's fine. You carry on.
Christmas, the worst sequel.
Yeah. And on that note, thank you very much for listening. We'll see you guys on the next episode, whatever it may be. If you enjoy
2020 sequels.
Don't forget to... I'm going to turn you all down. Don't forget to subscribe and all that good stuff. If you want to see more content with us together, please let us know. Get in touch on Twitter, Facebook. The links are in the show notes, so I don't need to say them out. Go and check them out. And thank you very much to Martin and Alan.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, you didn't turn us down.
No. I'll see you guys. I'll just threaten it. It's fine. I'll see you guys next time. Adios. You've been listening to the 3 Pixels podcast with Alan Taylor, Martin Gregory, and me, Ben Ridley. Music provided by Epidemic Sound. With that, thank you for listening. We'll see you next time. Good night.
So Christmas films then.